Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be episode 4, part 2. The last episode was episode 4, part 1 because it was a fail. So we did learn a little bit about the craft and a little bit about the mission that we did not know before we launched. This is going to be the second run around. Essentially, the objective of the mission is to run my mystery goo experiment to collect science at 5 different locations. On the launch pad, in air, over the coast and seas, low atmosphere, high atmosphere, and in space. Something that I realized from the last episode was I've already collected science on the first technical launch that I mentioned in the first episode. That wasn't actually a launch, it was just collecting science at the launch pad. So instead, I'm going to say it's going to be in the air, over the coast and seas, low atmosphere, high atmosphere, in space, and then when we come back down to the water, we're going to collect it in the water because we're most likely going to land in the water. So, the goal of the reason this craft is important to me and it's a little bit like monumental is because it's a multi-stage rocket in the sense that we've gotten the first stage from the 2-1 airframe, the Zephyr Probe 2-1. We took the Zephyr Probe 2-1 airframe, put it at the bottom, put the Zephyr Probe 1-2 airframe, put it at the top for the second stage. They're both ascent stages. And then the third stage is the recovery stage. It's the shield, shoot, and recovery. We've got a parachute, a heat shield, and then we have to recover everything. Then I'll show you guys what the actual rocket looks like. Alright, so hopefully this mission is a bit of a success because that is the goal that I'm trying to go for. I don't want to keep wasting money, and I'm not too hot on money right now, but I'm mostly doing this for science so that I can unlock more parts and then probably orbit in the next episode. So we've got the Zephyr Probe 3-1. It's the first stage Zephyr built to come home. 2 ascent stages lifted from the 1-2 and 2-1 airframes, topped with a new recovery stage carrying 5 mystery goo canisters and a shielded cargo bay. There is a heat shield, parachute, and power with redundant antennas for comms, unmanned and recoverable. This is essentially what I was mentioning. The Zephyr 2-1 airframe, the Zephyr 1-2 airframe, and then we have the actual recovery stage. So I did a much more in-depth rundown of the actual rocket in episode 4. What was it? Episode 4, part 1. So if you guys want to see episode 4, part 1, go check that out. This is going to be more of a retrial of the previous episode. So, set thrust to max, of course. Turn on SAS, the countdown, and then we keep going. We play through. Alright, so turn on SAS, thrust to max. Before I do the countdown and actually go up, let's pin all of my mystery goo so that it's easier to click on instead of having to click on moving parts on the screen. There we go. Open up resources. Hopefully none of my resources fail like previously, and if they do fail, I actually notice. Yeah, the parts are higher generation parts now because I've used them already. I don't have to, we'll just leave that like that. So yeah, we've got Gen 5 parts, we've got Gen 7 parts, so hopefully everything goes well. Something that I like to do is, I'm going to keep all the electric power on. Something that happened previously was when I turned on my electric power, when I turned off my batteries so that I could save electric power, I ran into the issue that, I basically ran into the issue where I couldn't control the rocket anymore. I think I just recovered the vessel. No, I didn't. There we go. Alright. So, alright, let's do the countdown. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to lower thrust down to 70% or 66% roughly. We should be able to run a mystery goo in the air now. Yep. The reason I want to recover the mystery goo is because, as you can see, if I were to transmit the data, I lose over half, and I'd rather not lose half, you know? This is what the map looks like at the moment. Oh, got a little bit of a problem controlling the rocket. gonna have to go full blast on the rocket so that I can control it better. The reason it's a little bit difficult to control is because it's top heavy, so we are going to run into the same issue as before, but at least it won't be too prominent. Alright, so we did end up getting to 45 kilometers, which is actually higher than before. What I'm gonna end up doing is separating at around 30 kilometers. Alright, T45 alternator failed, that's fine. We're gonna separate soon. Review mystery goo. We might have a little bit of a problem. I might have done multiple by mistake. Let's separate now. And then let's move over to actually going up. Yep, right here. We're gonna want to start going up now. The goal is to go up to 70 kilometers. Once I'm at 70 kilometers or a little bit higher, I can stop burning. There we go. Stop burning here. So let's take a look at some of my data. So this was flying over Kerbin. So yeah, I accepted. If I reset this, I don't think I'll be able to use it. Oh no, I can use it. Nice. Upper atmosphere. Oh, so there's flying over Kerbin, upper atmosphere, out of space. Alright, so we've got those two. Flying at Kerbin, the goo jiggles. Alright, we've got that. We've got this, so we've got two so far. My biggest concern is breaking my connection line, this green line, breaking my connection line as I go down. Hopefully the the planet rotates enough to at least be here when I'm down here. We've broken 70 kilometers, so we're going to collect the next pair of science, or the next little bit of science. So far we're at 20 science, which is great. I don't think I can run a telemetry report up here, I've already done that. Alright. So the last thing that awaits me is pointing the ship in the retrograde direction. All my batteries are fine, everything's good so far. So I point the ship in the retrograde direction. Retrograde to surface. So as I come down, I'm essentially going to be burning up from the bottom up, and that's going to be slowing me down as opposed to having the tip going down. That's going to be speeding me up. So I'm probably going to use this last bit of fuel to kind of like slow my descent. Probably like right here. Let's use the rest of the fuel. I know I'm going to be coming down very, very steep, but the goal is to try and stay above the KSC. Probably going to end up separating soon. Alright, so let's do this a little bit. Alright, so we've ran out of fuel. Now we're going to separate. Get this off the screen, move this up, move this up. Alright, now when we separate, as you guys can see, these missions are going to end up getting pretty long, especially if they're uncut. We're going to separate off. We've got my heat shield here. It's going to protect everything. We've got, we should be fine. These batteries are probably going to burn up. This antenna may actually burn up as well, but we've got a second antenna here that I can extend right now, actually. And this antenna shouldn't break because it's not fighting any aerodynamic forces. All the aerodynamic forces are hitting my heat shield. And then all I have to do is make sure to deploy my parachute as high as possible so that it auto-deploys on its own at 5,000 kilometers. But I've got to be going slow enough, because if I'm not going slow enough, then that's a pretty big problem. Alright, here we go. We're re-entering the atmosphere. That's the part of my rocket that fell. If it does fall faster, or it gains more speed if they fall at the same... Oh, the antenna broke because of aerodynamic forces. I did not expect that at all. So even if it's not fighting any aerodynamic forces, it'll still break. We're gonna have to deploy the parachute sooner rather than later because we're going to lose connection soon. Yeah, you see how this line, once it crosses a certain threshold, I'm going to lose connection. So I'm probably going to deploy the parachute up here. Parachute deployed. This should be a successful land. I may be able to collect science up here, and then I can definitely collect science down there. No, I can't. Not yet. I can definitely collect science in the water. Maybe. I might not be able to, but that wasn't the point. The point was just to collect science and then make our way down, which we are succeeding at. We're going slow enough. We're going to lose connection, so I won't be able to actually collect science, but that's perfectly fine. As you guys can see soon enough. So we deployed the parachute. This is essentially going to be a slow, very, very, very slow climb down to the bottom. So, yeah. I guess this gives me a little bit of time to talk about what the next mission is going to be. So I think the next mission, after I collect the science, what I'd like the next mission to be, now that I have a decent amount of parts, I'd like to probably accept some more missions, and then accept the orbit missions. I think the next mission is going to be an orbit. I'm going to design a spacecraft that will orbit. Probably going to use the same idea that this spacecraft used, multi-stages. So a multi-stage orbit instead of a SSTO, which is a single-stage orbit. I might even use solid rocket fuel boosters, which are essentially rocket boosters that don't turn off after you turn them on. They've got their uses. They've got a huge thrust-to-weight ratio on their own, so they can carry a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, my battery on my Propanano KTO broke, which is okay because I have 2 extra batteries. And it doesn't really matter all that much. My parachute is deployed. Like I said, this is going to be a very, 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 very slow climb down, but it gives me a little bit of time to talk to you guys. Something that I think I mentioned in the last episode was I'm very appreciative of you guys leaving comments and enjoying the videos. If you guys are, please let me know. If you guys aren't, let me know what you guys would like to see to enjoy them a bit more. It's always been a dream of mine to do YouTube, and right now I'm kind of doing it as a little documentary series. And this idea came to me because I was playing KSP, and I was like, yo, what if I start a save and upload my videos on every launch? Because that's kind of cool. It reminded me of in science movies when they're doing a little montage of, or in science movies or shows, or even in science scenes, where they're doing a little montage of like trials. So they'll show you the trials on video. So trials 1 through whatever, and then the successes, all the failures. It's kind of cool. So that's essentially what this channel is for, or what this channel is going to be doing moving forward for KSP specifically. I'd really only like to play KSP because it's a game that I had never finished. I've never finished it, and I love playing it with people, especially one of my best friends. So with that being said, I'd like to play it with you guys, enjoy the experience with you guys. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know. Something that I could potentially even get into is live streaming actual missions or launches. So like the first mission to the mud, I can live stream that. I'll probably ask one of my other content making friends if he thinks that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. As you guys can see here, I did lose connection, so I won't be able to run my experiments. Yeah, I won't be able to run my experiments, but I will be able to recover everything, which is what the main goal is. So everything overall went good. There were no bad things in this mission. Even the ship flipping over, or even trying to flip over, I was able to manage that properly. In order to manage that even better, it's better to center all of your mass as opposed to have mass like on the sides, and move the mass down so that in the last video I mentioned, the aerodynamics level or center of lift has to be lower than your center of mass. If your center of lift is at your center of mass or higher than your center of mass, you're going to run into that issue. Essentially, the air or the wind is going to want to push in the direction of your center of lift. I think it is, right? And what that ends up allowing for is for your ship to start moving in different ways that you don't want it to. So if your center of lift is under your center of mass, you can keep a ship upright perfectly fine. Oh, battery short circuit. It's good that it happened now compared to before. But aside from that little tangent, yeah, everything's been cool. Everything's been pretty good. Like I said, the next mission I'm looking towards. Oh, let me speed this up. The next mission I'm looking towards a orbit, and I might even live stream going to the Mun and everything that I go through to go to the Mun, because that would be like pretty cool for anyone to watch if they want to. But I might leave the live streaming for a little down the road once I build a little bit of an audience. Like, even if it's 5 viewers, once I have like 5 concurrent viewers or 5 of the same viewers that watch the video, if they want to, I can like live stream for them, and then other people can tune in as well, and then I can have like a little bit of a audience to talk with, and they can ask questions, they can answer questions, they can have requests, they can meet their requests, so on and so forth. So that's essentially what I'm looking for. I'm looking to build a little bit of a community around the game of KSP. Anyone who thinks the game is cool, who hasn't tried it, or who has tried it, they can come in and give me advice. Because like I said, I'm very much a novice. I wouldn't even say I'm a novice. I'm very much a beginner at KSP, right? It may not seem like it, but I have not done much in this game. This is just all of my fruits and labor of the same over and over, of starting the same, or trying over and over and over again around the same point of the game. Alright, so I did collect my signs. And I think the next rocket that I send up is going to be a satellite, low Kerbin orbit satellite. So I might not even go for orbit immediately. Well, I'm gonna go for orbit first, of course, right? So this allows me to get presso map barometer for more science, which would be pretty cool. That would pay off. Small inline reaction wheel. That's gonna help me control my ship better, especially when it's more top heavy. Get some nose cones, which is nice. Service module. And general rocketry, so better rockets. I personally think that this radio decoupler on its own is huge, right? So before I unlock anything in here, take a look at my administration building. Nope, nothing I can do there. Mission control. At mission control, we're going to orbit Kerbin in the next episode. So that's the next episode. It's going to be orbit. Establish a stable orbit. Let's get a probe into orbit. So yeah. I actually think the best one out of all of these is probably going to be this one right here. Honestly, in my honest opinion, it'll be this one. For the sole purpose that I get more science on the way up. I probably get to take a mystery junior as well. If that's what it's called, if I remember correctly. But something else that I want to buy is these satellites, because what are the purchase price? Does it show? I want to buy one of them, not both. What does this hold? I don't know what that holds. But oh, I do want to do the submersible oceanography. That's going to be easy science as well, so we'll probably do that next time. So these two are what I'm going to use for orbits. Probably going to go with this one because it's definitely a lot cheaper to my knowledge. I don't know how much it costs though. Let's see. It costs 4.8K. This one costs 48K. So I'm going to try and throw up 3 satellites into low Kerbin orbit, probably around 100 kilometers. And they're going to be like making a triangle. So regardless of where I am on Kerbin, I'll be able to get connection. So I think that's what the next couple missions are going to be. And the hard part about actually doing that is going to be getting the periods correct so that they orbit at the correct, what's it called? Getting the periods correct so that they orbit together at the same time, as opposed to some falling behind or some lagging behind, which allow for the orbit to get a little wonky. So I want all 3 to be in a triangle. I'll try and learn as much as I can about the complexity of that mission, and then I'll try and describe it to you guys as simple as possible, so that I can get you guys going with like the actual game. Aside from that, I think this is the best thing that I could get. And one of the best things that I'm going to get from here are the radio decoupler. It's essentially a decoupler but on the side. Inline reaction mode is going to be very, very good. My winglet is going to be very, very good. It's a bigger wing. Press magnerometer, and then the TT38K radio decoupler. That's also going to be very, very good. And then probably these nose cones, but I'll buy them as I go. I'll probably get, this is I think, I don't think it definitely matters. So I'm probably going to go for this nose cone. I think it looks cooler to me. And then probably this nose cone for the 1.25. Yeah, I'll go with this nose cone. Aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed the success, and I'll be building the next rocket and showing it off in the next episode, episode 5. Have a great day, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.